Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about the Safariland horizontal magazine holder, and basically I have it right over here. Holds the magazine, right, but holds it in a horizontal position. So a couple of reasons why I really like this is, first of all, I'm able to wear it on the outside of my belt, and because it's horizontal along the belt, right, the way I normally dress, like I got my gun on this side, I have my cell phone case over here, which is typically on the outside of my shirt. So my shirt typically comes up and over so I can access my cell phone, right? But then because this is horizontal, basically my shirt drops down and it's still able to cover the magazine holder, which to me is like kind of an important thing. Number one, I don't want people to know what I have. I don't want them to know I have a gun on me. I don't want them to know that I have an extra magazine. And that there's two ways you can look at that. I don't want them to know how much extra ammo I have or how much little ammo I have, right? Because I only have one extra magazine over here, and I may not want people to see that I only have one extra magazine, right? So there's two ways to look at it. One way is that you have the extra magazine. The other way to look at it is that you only have one extra magazine. Okay, so either case, I don't want people to know what I have, and this is kind of perfect because it covers it up in this position that it's over here. First of all, I like it that it's outside the belt, and I've experimented for a while. For a whole year, I was carrying this magazine holder, which is fabric, on the inside of my pants. Okay. Now, even though this is pretty thin, I still found it kind of uncomfortable. Just because, like, I already got the gun on the inside of the belt over here, so that kind of changes how your belt sits a little bit. But only having that in one location is not so bad. When you put something on the inside of your pants on the other side, it's now deforms the way your belt basically sits on your body a little bit more. And that's even more clear to see if you try to put two of these right side by side. All of a sudden, there's even less control there. Your pants are even more likely to fall down on you. So the belt does less of a job of holding your pants up as you put more and more things on the inside of your belt. So for me, having just one thing on the inside of my belt, the gun, it's kind of like as far as I want to go. Okay. But for a whole year, I was carrying this on the inside of my pants. That was in 2020. That's when they had the riots going on around the country. Now, I was in a very low risk area. All the same, I said, hey, let me carry an extra magazine with on my body, and I kind of put up with this for a whole year. I didn't like it a whole lot, but I did. So I like carrying it concealed because obviously I can have a magazine like this, right, that kind of sits on the outside of my belt. The problem with this is when you do that, it's gonna hang down, right? So anybody looking at your shirt, basically is gonna see this part here hanging down the bottom, and that's kind of recognized. People that know guns are gonna know that, hey, this thing that's sticking out underneath the shirt is a magazine holder, right? So people that know what to look for are going to see it. They're going to recognize it. So the nice thing I like about this horizontal one over here, because it's less common, even if this were to pop up a little bit, because it is on the outside of my belt. What if I'm in the store and I reach over like this and it pops up like that, right? Well, it's horizontal. That's not a very common design. So people might, won't think anything of it. They might think that it's like, if they don't see this cell phone case, right, they might think that that's a cell phone back there, or they might think that it's an eyeglass case. They might think it's some other type of electronic design, device. So this is not easily recognizable as a magazine holder. It could be a lot of other things. So that's another reason why I really like this design. And the fact that it's on the outside of my belt makes it really comfortable to carry. I can sit in the car. It doesn't bother me when I sit in the car. That's a big concern anytime you're putting stuff on your backside over here. So that's one of the reasons why I carry the Glock 43. This is like a really comfortable gun you know, to carry in that 5 o'clock position, and for me to sit in my truck and be comfortable, right, and not have this thing digging into me or into the seat behind me. So I'm really comfortable carrying this Glock 43. And it does have the red dot on it. That, you know, the fact that the red dot's on it really doesn't bother me, because, you know, this is kind of like the center line over here. So as things stick out more, they're kind of be in the way. So if this were just like even a ½ inch longer, it would be a significant inconvenience when I sit down in the car. So that's kind of like the perfect length right there. I don't use a pinky extension. If I use the magazines that have the pinky extension, it does make a difference. I can feel that ½ inch that sticks out, right? So I use this without the pinky extension. But the optic on this side, because it's only sticking up about 1 inch of the center line, has absolutely no effect when I'm carrying this gun. So, you know, this is an important part of your consideration as far as carrying. You know, how comfortably are you going to be able to sit down in the car? So this is a good position back here. I've experimented with having it up here. Again, when I sit down, basically, you know, I'm not a very skinny guy, so having it up here, you know, I found that, you know, I was fidgeting a little bit, bothered me. Like I don't like having my cell phone case up here. When I sit down, that's in the way, so I keep the cell phone case here on the side, where it's kind of like I can bend over or sit down and it doesn't bother me. And I keep this back here. This is able to shift, you know, back and forth on your belt a little bit. So if for any reason you needed to move it a little bit, you can move it. Now, as far as speed in doing a magazine change, you are definitely not going to be as fast as one of these Kydex ones that sit on your belt on the outside that you can like quickly pull up, put back in when you need to. You know, you're definitely not going to be that fast. But that said, you know, it's pretty fast, right? I can take out the magazine, reach back here, pop open the strap, get this in, okay? All right. Not that I would likely be putting it back in there. I'd probably be putting it in my pocket, but it does go in and out pretty easy. Easy enough that you can do exercises and drills, because that's one of the things. Like sometimes, like early on, like 10 years ago when I first started carrying, you know, sometimes like I was using equipment that, you know, basically easy to come out of the holster, not so easy to go back in, or easy to come out of the magazine pouch, not so easy to go back in. And when you're doing repetitive exercises, what that means is, you know, if it's difficult or a little bit more trouble putting it back in, what that means is you're going to be less prone to practicing. And also, like in a self-defense situation, one of the things I tell people is like, you know, if you have to pull out the gun for whatever reason, you know, you know, in a self-defense type of situation, you know, after you do your scan assess, you gotta get the gun back in the holster as quickly as possible once you are comfortable that everything is safe. So let's say you pull out the gun, bang, 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 cover the gun up so nobody sees it, do a quick scan assess. The reason why we're doing the scan assess is to break tunnel vision, right? Yeah, we are looking around to see if there's any additional threats, but more than anything, we need to break tunnel vision and kickstart our brain into thinking about what we have to do next. So that's, you know, we can't really drill calling 911 or administering, you know, first aid and stuff like that. You know, that's a little bit more trouble. But doing a quick scan assess is going to basically get us thinking about, okay, what's next? Okay, I know what's next. Let me get the gun back in the holster so that a cop doesn't see me holding a gun, or another concealed carrier doesn't see me holding a gun and think that I'm the bad guy. Okay, so that's really important. So you need to be able to get the stuff back in the holster. Guns gotta be able to go back in. Now, for like I was saying, in a self-defense situation, if you do have to do a magazine change, chances are you're not gonna go put a magazine or your used magazine back in your magazine holder. It's probably not a good idea, especially if it's not full. You're better off just sticking in your pocket. But for drilling, right, when we're doing practicing, yeah, it is convenient to be able to take the magazine out, right, you know, and do quick, you know, do your magazine changes and get it back in there, all right, and do that continuously. So that's an important factor for drilling. You have to be able to get it out, but also put it back in. And this works. One of the things that I found with this one, right, and I got like a 5-pack of these. So same magazine for the Glock 43. When I wear this on, you know, on the inside, back here on the inside of my belt, what happens with this is, first of all, it's, you know, I mean, even though it's designed for a small magazine like this, it's kind of sinks down, and sometimes it is a little hard to get out. So basically you got to kind of dig, and mind you, pressed up against your body. So it's really hard to grab it from the sides. You have to push your thumb in and pull it out like this. And when this is inside your pants, it's almost impossible to get this back in without removing this magazine holder. So doing drills and exercises with this magazine holder here was a little bit more difficult, a lot more difficult than with this one over here. Let me take this off really quick and show it to you guys. First of all, let me show you. Let me get this off. Okay. So this is the name of the company, Safariland. This is my first time buying a Safariland product. From what I understand, they are a pretty big name as far as self-defense and gun-related gear. From what I've heard, a lot of police departments use their Safariland equipment. Not necessarily this piece, but they are a pretty big name from what I hear in this industry. So this is the magazine holder. So the nice thing about this is that this is the part that goes through the belt. So the nice thing about this, as you saw, I was able to remove this without actually taking off my belt. So that can also be a convenience. But because it goes through the belt and then it velcros over the top, it holds it pretty, because it holds it in place, because you got two things really holding this in place now. You've got the belt that's basically pressing up against the lever, and then you've got the Velcro over the top. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that Velcro is something that wears out over time. Okay, so the more you use this, the more you're opening and closes, over the course of, I don't know, 2-3 years. I don't know how long it would take, maybe 10 years, maybe 6 months. Velcro does wear out depending how often you use it. But this is only $20. So, this is not like a super expensive thing. Here, I'll show you guys a close up. There's some things over here, Safariland. Okay, it says made in Mexico. Okay, so it's Mexican made. So you have these two patches. Now, when I received this in the mail and I looked at this, right, my initial impression, because they advertised this as a magazine holder that fits all, and I'm like, okay, how can one magazine fit the Glock 43, which is a lot thinner, let's say, versus a Glock 17? So I thought that this was going to be oversized. Okay, I thought this was going to be really oversized, and that this was going to be like really swimming around in there, and I thought I was going to have to send this back, and I didn't expect to be happy with this. Okay, let's put it that way. Okay, I did not expect to be happy with this. I bought this from Amazon, like I said, through Amazon. It was $20, but the Glock 43 does fit in there, and it's pretty snug. I mean, I can see that I could probably fit a bigger one in there. Okay, let me try the bigger one. So I got a couple of different magazines here. So this one here is an ETS for the Shield 9. Okay, so Shield 9 fits real nice in there, nice and snug. Now it is longer, right? So there's a lot of space over here. Same thing with the Glock 43. Right, so when I put the Glock 43 in there, it goes right. The end plate over here goes right up against the end. So there's definitely, like, I don't know, a full inch over here. So let's try some other Glock magazines. Let's go to the Glock 26. Now, let's see if this will accommodate the thickness. So it'll fit, but I mean, I can see it's stretching it out a little bit as it goes in. So here's the thing: this is a leather product. So what's going to happen is if you're using this for, let's say, a Glock 26, or let's try the Glock 19. Let's see how that fits. That will fit in there. Okay, let's try this Glock 17. Yeah, that'll fit in there. Let's see, will it close over the top? You gotta really, I don't want to stretch this out, but yeah, I can see I still got some room. I can force this in there. So here's the thing: if you're gonna be carrying this with a Glock 26, Glock 17, Glock 19, what's gonna happen is the leather is gonna stretch a little bit. Okay, so because leather is gonna give, and you can actually even help this along by they got like leather treatment and stuff like that. So if you're using this for the Glock 17, 19, 26, the leather is going to stretch, and you can buy treatments to help it stretch a little bit more if you need to. Since I'm using this only for my Glock 43, I don't want to stretch it. I want to keep it right there where it is, which this is perfectly snug. That's exactly where I want it. I mean, it's just snug enough right now from the factory that if this strap were to open up, and remember, it's a horizontal holster, so it sits here, but let's say I find myself in the position where it's hanging, like, it's not going to come out. So my advice is that if you're buying this for the Glock 43, only use it for the Glock 43. Or if you're using this for, let's say, a Shield 9, which is also a little bit thin, or any single stack. If you're using this, if you plan to use this for a single stack magazine, right? Only use that for this gun, because if you try to put a double stack in there, yes, it will stretch to fit it, but at the same time, you won't be able to go back to using a single stack. So when you buy this, you have to buy this with the intention that you're going to be using it only for a single stack or only for a double stack magazine. So let's get this back on. So let's see, hold like this. Hold on. Is that the right way? There you go, it goes like that. Put that like that. So nice thing about this is that, again, I don't have to remove my belt to get this on. Now this pretty much, lives on my pants. So like if I'm wearing, let's say if I have a pair of jeans I'm going to be wearing for like a couple of days in a row, it's just going to stay on there. It's not going to keep coming on and off. Oh, I went the wrong way. I got it, so I got to go like this. Nope. Oh, I need it like that. Obviously, I have not been taking this on and off. I just leave this on my belt. So the putting it on part is a little challenging for me right now. There you go. So that's where that lives. Magazine comes out, goes into the gun like that. So that's nice and set. So this is really good. I'm really happy with this. I'm actually I'm more happy than I expected to be. I expected that it was going to be too loose, and it was going to be kind of bouncing around in there, and I was going to end up returning it. But it's perfectly snug, so it holds the Glock 43 magazine in its place, and because it's leather, when you put a Glock 17 mag in there, it's going to be really, really tight, but it will stretch to accommodate it. But yeah, obviously you can't, once it stretches out, you can't go back to a single stack magazine. So now I understand, when Safariland, when they advertise it and they say one size fits all, I now understand how they accomplish that, right? Because at first I was like, it's either going to work for one or the other. It can't possibly work for both, but it does, because they size it for a single stack, and then the leather stretches out to fit a double stack. So I'm really happy with this. So I'm kind of putting this out there as an option that might work for you guys, some of you guys out there. It may not work for everybody, but it definitely works for my situation, the way I like to carry. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're not a member of the channel, subscribe. I'd love to have you guys here on my channel. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Talk to you guys soon.